Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of UC Weekly News. I'm your host, as always, David Danto, and I'm my good friend Eric Krapf joining me today. Say hi to everybody, Eric.
Hi, everybody. Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So we're a few weeks away from the start of Enterprise Connect, and we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about what's happening at that show, what's different, what I'm doing, what you guys are doing. Let's get into it a little. Before we do that, and I've always asked you this before, let's give everybody the logistics, the dates, and where to find it, and everything else.
Okay, it's March 17th through the 20th. It happens at a venue called the Gaylord Palms Hotel in Orlando, Florida. You can find us on the web at Enterprise Connect, obviously all one word, just all strung together.com.
Okay, terrific. So this year, I'm going to be moderating something that we're calling an Impact Summit, one of three of them that you do. Why don't you tell us what they are, and then I'll get into the details of what mine will be about.
Sure. So, what we wanted to do with the Monday programming in Enterprise Connect was to really block out some time to go really in depth on several key issues. So we chose customer engagement, which obviously is a hot area, AV and video, which I think is really starting to come up big again for our audience. And then we have some really great case studies on kind of enterprise strategy. So we lean into that for kind of our third Impact Summit. And the idea is it ends up being almost 3 hours, broken into three separate sessions with breaks in between, so that there's some coherence to the programming over the course of that 3 hours, and it's all in the same room. Everybody takes breaks together. Increase the opportunities for networking for people right at the beginning of the show to identify, gee, here's a group of people, here's a face, here's a name that for the rest of the week, I know that we're interested in this thing and maybe we can make some connections.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find interesting about it, and I'm pleased and appreciate the fact that you picked me to moderate the first one on AV, or the second one on AV, is that this is not just a presentation. Yes, we'll have slides. Yes, we'll have panelists. But the whole idea is I want this to be a dialogue where the people that are in the audience are communicating and asking their questions. And, I'm probably going to go run into the audience. I used to say doing a Donahue, but that doesn't work anymore. Doing an Oprah, going into the audience and letting people, get engaged in the conversation and steer where they want it. We're going to stay on topic. But, that's the whole point, is that we want to have a dialogue around this issue of AV and video. And we've got two, I can't say I'm a great presenter. I'm doing the first presentation on what's going on with AI in the rooms. And I'm not talking about meeting summaries and the kind of stuff that generative AI does. I'm talking about how microphones work differently now, and how you can do monitoring, and, cameras aiming themselves, and what's the real impact of AI and machine learning on AV. Because the most important part of that is all the rules are changing. What was a hard and fact rule for 20 years in AV is now throw it out the window, because you can do things differently. So that's mine. And then we have Aaron Rowe.
They're going as KPMG. Actually, they're going to talk about the Lake House facility, which is an advanced sort of learning center that KPMG has in Florida. And he's going to talk about how they just finished like a major upgrade and what that all involved. Aaron is going to talk about the Office of the Future, kind of specifically within Deloitte, how they're thinking about these kind of things that you're going to start introducing in the AI session about, here's all these capabilities that AI is enabling to the AV experience. And now how do you blend that with the network, or not, well, you do use the network, but with the office as a whole, and how do you create this whole new experience of being in the office?
So I'm very excited about doing that one. Why don't you give us some highlights of the rest of the show?
Okay, so we have, again, a great, we have all the biggest platform players are doing keynotes again. For the first time, we're doing keynotes on Monday morning. We traditionally have started those on Tuesday. Today, or no, I'm sorry, not Monday morning, Monday afternoon. Traditionally, we've started on Tuesday morning, but we got Microsoft kicking us off Monday about 1:45, I think, is when they're around when they do their keynote. Then we're going to have a special kind of inspiring keynote with Mike Massimino, who is a former astronaut with NASA. He's did a couple space shuttle missions, went up and fixed the Hubble telescope. Very cool. He's a great speaker, and he's got some very cool lessons about teamwork and persistence, and how you take a crew, both when you're up in space and it's just a few people, but also obviously everybody you work with to get to that point, and how to have that teamwork. We think, IT organizations are changing a lot and they're having to deal with all kinds of new stuff, so much of it driven by AI. So we think that that might be inspiring
And
for people.
somebody's going to ask him about appearing on The Big Bang Theory and what that was like. So we'll see how that goes.
That's right. And you see him. I saw him crop up recently. There's been some news about the folks who are stuck up at the International Space Station now, and they tend, the morning news shows or whatever tend to reach out to him for comment and color on what's going on with stuff like that.
That's great. I'm looking forward to that.
I think it'll be really cool. Then Tuesday, we've got keynotes from Zoom, AWS, and Cisco. I think all of them are planning to do some announcements, which we're excited about. Cisco's got some great stuff I know that they're planning. And then Ring Central and Google will be our keynoters on Wednesday. So we've got those keynotes, but what I'm really excited about, I mean, even as much as that, is we've got, I think, a record number of enterprise representatives on the main stage this year, starting on Monday and going all the way through Wednesday.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting. I know that there are a lot of people that are doing great presentations. We've talked in past years about what Kevin Kaler and Brent Kelly are doing. I know they're going to be presenting. Kevin's awesome at talking about what's happening with AI in the industry. He's tracking it closer than anybody else. I'm doing one on Tuesday afternoon around Microsoft's MDEP platform and what are the pros and cons of that, and what are the things people should be aware of. There are a lot of little pieces in there that are great. And with the keynotes, I do want to highlight that you've had some what's the word I should use? Some extras of the past are now taking over. You've got Ilya is doing the keynote for Microsoft. He was always on the stage as the guy doing the demo, but now it's his presentation. And you got my good friend Snora, who's going to be doing the Cisco presentation. And again, he was usually in a room talking about the device, but now he's going to be on the stage, which is cool.
Yeah, Sonora actually keynoted, I think 2 years ago, with us, and was amazing. He was fantastic, and we're super glad to have him back. And yeah, the Google keynoter is their sort of lead for AI within Google Cloud. Um, um, for Zoom, we've got Smita Hashim, who's their head of product, and for AWS, we've got Pasquale De Meo, who's the guy for Amazon Connect.
Now it's interesting.
And I should just add, for Ring, Kira Makagon, who was just named the president and COO of the company.
Yes, it's interesting in that Amazon just about a week or two ago announced that they're doing away with the Chime product. Amazon Chime was announced at Enterprise Connect. I remember they had a black curtain around the booth so they could announce it the second day. I'm surprised they wouldn't want to wait to Enterprise Connect again to announce that. And they've made an interesting decision. I'm not, commentary from an analyst standpoint, but they are an Office or Microsoft 365 enterprise. So they've already paid for Microsoft Teams to do their calling, but they made the decision to go with Zoom. Even though they already own Teams. So that's definitely, a positive feeling for the Zoom folks, where they said that, this is a better product to be using for video. Whether you agree or not, I don't know, but that's an interesting thing. So, I'm sure they'll be asked about that.
And then on the main stage, also, as mentioned, we're really excited about the participation we've got from enterprise folks. We've got on Monday, we always have the big strategic vendors on general sessions that Jim Burton and I moderate. And we broke that into two this year, and each has got three of the strategic vendors, and to that we've added two enterprise execs. So on the first one, which is going to be about what's the new model for collaboration, we've got a great leader who's also on our advisory board. He's with the Hartford, who's going to be part of that, and then another of our advisory board members, a top leader IT leader at Advent Health, big Florida health firm. And then in the afternoon, we've got someone from Fannie Mae, and also are just confirming someone from the Principal Financial Group, the top exec there. So some great folks on Monday. Then Tuesday, we have an enterprise panel that we always start out the day with. This year, great group. We got Yum Brands, AAA of the Northeast, Avery Dennison, and then a very large trucking firm called Werner, a gentleman who's the CIO of Werner, with some great perspectives that they're going to share. We always try to get a mix of verticals on that. Then Wednesday, I'm going to do right after Sheila McGee Smith does her strategic enterprise panel, which is going to have Sinead Aylward of Johnson Controls, another great enterprise executive. Then I'm going to, after that, do a fireside chat with a top contact center exec from Cigna, we're going to really home in on using AI in the contact center.
Yeah, if you for those fireside shots, let me give you just a quick bit of criticism and advice. Get
Okay.
some chairs up there. Don't do the stand-up ones like happened last year because everybody seemed uncomfortable there.
Well, it's yeah, the one that we're going to do with the Cigna gentleman, it's 30 minutes. So I'm an old guy. I can't stand up for 30 minutes anymore. So we will be sitting down for that.
Excellent. Terrific. I've been going to Enterprise Connect for longer than I can remember. I didn't go to it when it was VoiceCon, but just as soon as it switched to Enterprise Connect, I was there. And the reason I go is it's really the place to find out what's happening in the industry. Every analyst who's important is there. Most companies are there. As you point out, some of them are giving, product demonstrations and announcing new features. And I really get a lot out of that. When I was an enterprise user, when I was a consultant, and now as an analyst, it gives me the ability to really keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening. And I hope more people understand that because, first of all, Florida is not an expensive place to go to. You don't have to stay at the Gaylord Palms. You can generally stand up and spit in Orlando and find a hotel for $100. And it's really worth the time for a couple of days to find out what's going on in our industry.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And of course, I agree. And I think the other thing that some enterprise folks have told us that it sort of almost mirrors what the messaging that we develop internally, which is it's a really efficient way for them to have a bunch of the big meetings that they need to have. Their strategic vendors are all there. The companies that they're looking to for new technology are there, and it's just very efficient. We have one company sending like 28 people, I think, others sending big groups, and they use it as an opportunity to sort of bring that, there's not that much example anymore of one person who signs off on a massive deal. There's a buying group, and there's different disciplines represented and different constituencies represented, and bringing that kind of a group, I think helps. And also the IT changes so much. One year they're leading a cloud migration for their contact center. Next year, maybe they're refreshing all their meeting rooms, but many of the same people have a role in both of those things. So we offer them whatever they need that particular year.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong with any of this. If you go to the website, which you said was enterpriseconnect.com, you can register to go to the on the floor, the expo floor for free. There's no cost for doing that. But if you do that, you're not going to get any of the sessions. You're not going to get what I'm doing with MDEP or the Impact Summit or anything like that. You can see the keynotes, I believe, right? But other than that, you don't get any of the sessions. If you would like to register, I have a discount code. I don't mind telling everybody. Just use the code by name, Danto400, and that gets you $400 off the registration. So there really isn't a reason for you not to go one way or the other. Being part of this is, if you're in the industry, is a great way to find out what's going on.
Yeah, definitely encourage you to do that. And you're right. The Expo Pass is free. It does get you the keynotes. Vendors also can run sponsored sessions over the course of the event, and those are open to Expo Plus. But if you want the truly vendor neutral, multi-vendor, it's content like you're talking about, David, that's the conference pass that you can get a deal on by knowing David.
Everybody knows me. I'm on video. I'm on all the platforms. So give me an elevator pitch. Give me a 20, 30-second pitch as to why this show is really important.
Well, it's really important because there's massive change going on right now, and in the offing for the coming years. Mostly it's driven by AI largely, and it's going to impact your organization. But we're for many organizations, I think most enterprises, people that I've talked to, it's far from certain how it's far from certain what the plan is to get the value out of AI, and what gets you ROI and what gets you value, and what doesn't, or what you have to, let's say, what you have to do to make sure it's in compliance and you got the guardrails and all that. So, there's a big chunk of AI happening that is tremendously important. We're, for whatever you think of the trend, I think we're seeing some trend of return to the office, and of a lot of people pushing for returning to the office. And I think also we're now 5 years out from the beginning of the pandemic, so we're starting to see a replacement cycle in video and AV, and so there are critical decisions to be made there. And then finally, in the contact center, customer experience is incredibly important, and it's being driven out of the contact center now, and it's integrating even with where there's in-person contact. So there's absolutely a ton of critical things happening right now for the industry. And again, this is the place that brings it all together. This is the place that again, it gets you with all the major vendors. It covers the gamut of the technology. We use people like you who are independent experts, and you deliver the content that they need to hear about without a particular bias or without a dog in the fight, so to speak.
So that was more than 30 seconds, but what you didn't
Tall
mention,
building.
tall building. What you didn't mention is that you'll be able to run into people like me. I'll be at Enterprise Connect, and I'm happy to talk with you. My partner, Dave Michaels, we're both with Talking Points. You'll be able to run in and talk with us and get some advice from what's going on. And it's not just the two of us. Obviously, pretty much every analyst in the industry is going to be there. So every one of them will want to have a chat with you about what we can do to help you, whether you need advice, whether you want to understand what's happening for the vendors, for the manufacturers. Sometimes we can help tell the story better than they can. As an independent, so that happens. So definitely come, if for no other reason than to see my sessions, because my sessions are important.
For sure, they definitely are, and we're very grateful to you and Dave for helping us out, making a great program.
So that's great for all the information. I'm hoping to see other people there and really, make some good connections, some LinkedIn connections. And Eric, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I think it's going to be a wonderful event, and it's been terrific every year that you've been in charge of it, and we really do appreciate all your efforts with it.
Well, again, I appreciate all the help. You've helped us out tremendously in all your roles over the years, and have been a great. You always signal boosted us on social media. Have been one of the great influencers for that. And
I wear lots of hats. See, this is the closest one that I could find. That's the Cisco one, but I wear lots of hats.
That's well, and they've all been very helpful to us over the years. So can't thank you enough, and hope everybody will be able to come out and see you and the rest of the great experts that we've got there to help you learn about the things you need to learn about.
Eric, thanks very much for joining us this week. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining us this week, as you do every week. My name is David Danto. I'm happy to do this for you. We'll see you on next week's show.